Hi, my name is Martrisa Finney, and I am here to do a movie review for the movie Ray. I chose this movie because it had been such a long time since I had seen it, and I don't recall ever really watching it in its entirety. So I thought it would be great to watch it in light of Ray Charles being such an influential music artist, and also just to watch it in its entirety, especially after the things that I've learned recently in this course. So the synopsis of the movie is that the movie followed the life of Ray Charles Robinson. Ray Charles, as he was professionally called, lost his sight at the age of 7. Apparently, he lost his sight due to glaucoma, and that wasn't directly discussed in the movie. I Googled to see if there was a known cause of why he lost his sight. Ray Charles grew up in Florida after his mother moved him and his younger brother from Georgia when he was an infant. His mom was a sharecropper, and Ray actually lost his younger brother due to a drowning accident when he was still young. After losing his sight, Ray's mom eventually sent him to a school in Florida that was specifically for children that were blind. His mother often said throughout the movie that she didn't want him looking for a handout. She did not want him to be considered a cripple. She wanted him to be independent and to be able to take care of himself despite his disability. In one scene in the movie, she also mentioned that she was sending him to the school because she knew that they could give him more than she could, and she had taken him as far as he could go. Through the flashbacks in his childhood that you see throughout the movie, you get to see that his rise to stardom and how his disability did not keep him from living a great life. Throughout the movie, you got to see where Ray Charles experienced relationships, loss, success in his field of music, and also pain. His experience didn't differ much from what any other person would experience throughout their lifespan. Seeing that the impact that he made on music and the impact that he made even in civil rights was influential, and it was such a huge thing. And I think that by seeing who he was beyond his disability was very apparent in this movie. They showed all the things that went great and even the things that went wrong, including his struggle with substance abuse and how he dealt with his disability and his loss of his brother at such a young age. And he lost his brother right before he fully lost his sight. And that's something that's also deeply explored in the movie as well. I do think that Ray was primarily portrayed in a positive light. The movie did a great job at showing both sides of him being blind. You got to see the struggles and discrimination he experienced as an artist, as well as how he was able to make an everlasting impact on music and history. Seeing that Ray struggled with, connecting with people in his band and how they often left him because they didn't want to babysit a blind person, and seeing how that impacted him initially with interacting with his peers, and showing how he moved past that and gained the confidence to explore. He never was alone. He was never alone. He never not had a woman. I don't know how else to say that, but he always had women around him. And the movie also explored these tumultuous relationships with women, including the numerous women that he had affairs with beyond his wife, whom he was married to. I think that by showing how similar this man's life was, though he was blind, was very accurate in showing that he had all these highs and lows. He had success. He had money. He had, friendships. Some were good, some were not. But being able to see that side of his disability and also just his life in general without, truly saying, okay, his life was limited because of these things, or he didn't get to experience meaningful relationships, or he wasn't able to get the things that he wanted to get out of life. He absolutely did. And the majority of them he was able to do on his own. There was one scene in the movie when he first began to date his wife B, when he walks her home. And so when they were parting, she said, hey, I need to call you a cab. And he said, no, you don't. He was like, I got to go 3 blocks up, then take a left, and then 2 blocks, and I make a right. And so him being able to navigate neighborhoods and streets and all of these things without the help of, different aides was incredible. So seeing how freely he was able to move in the community, how freely he was able to move in his career, and how he was able to accomplish some amazing things despite him being blind. I do believe that the depiction of the disability was accurate. I think that, as I said, the movie did a great job of chronicling his challenges that he endured because of his disability. The movie was crucial in showing how much his mom supported him and how she wanted him to become independent, and she didn't want the disability to allow him to be considered a cripple. His mother emphasized him with using sounds to determine his orientation and mobility. In one scene in the movie, he spoke about how he knew when he passed an open door because the sound of his footsteps would change. And as we know now in chapter 10, as we talked about blindness and low vision, that using sound is very crucial in helping people who are blind to navigate and allow themselves to freely move in most environments. Ray was never shown in the movie using any assistive devices such as long canes or guide dogs. He utilized Braille to read music and other documentation, a skill that I assume he learned during his time at the school in Florida that his mom sent him to. At times he did utilize a sighted guide. The majority of times that I would notice that in the movie was when he was being escorted on stage, which is very understandable because, of course, stages are typically very high. But for the most part, in the movie, you see Ray move around very freely. He never really used any specific or consistent assistive devices. I think this movie did an awesome job at showing a true picture of what this man's life was like with his disability. It did not harp specifically on his disability. However, I felt that it showed how much of an impact he made and how amazing of an artist he was despite his disability. Or as some may say, his being such a great artist came from, the other senses that he had to heighten due to this disability. Ray Charles accomplished a lot during his lifetime. People consider him the father of soul. He's won multiple awards. He accomplished a lot. And his song, Georgia on My Mind, is also the state of Georgia's official state song. So things like that let us know that your life can still be meaningful despite having a disability, and them showing all the different facets of his life and showing all of these great things as well as all of the hard things that he endured, not only because of him having blindness, but also what he was able to accomplish despite the blindness. So I'm really glad that I watched this movie. I'm really glad that I finally got to see it in its entirety. And I really think that it was a phenomenal movie. And I'm really glad that it really showed to me what I felt was an accurate depiction of what this man's life was like with his disability. So, thank you so much.